For no particular reason, I will remind everyone that currently the title holder for the worst horror movie released in the theaters goes to Happy Death Day, which is another Blumhouse production, same as this, Truth or Dare. So, do we still have a reigning champion? Let's find out. So let everybody know up front, this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, I guess go ahead and do it, and come on back. Alright, you're here. You've seen it, so you know it's about a group of ostensibly college kids that act like middle schoolers who go to Mexico magically and get hooked up with some dude who has them play a Truth or Dare game that then proceeds to somehow kill all of them. So we start off with likes. It's going to be easy, absolutely nothing. However, don't turn this off yet. Watch on through. I'm going to go into detail about some stuff. It might go in a direction you're not expecting. Okay, this is the dislike section. Now, I could just shred the movie. It'd be the easiest thing in the world. You know, we can go into gaping plot holes, nonsensical this, you know, PG-13, so when someone slits their throat, there's no blood. You know, it was the easiest thing in the world to get around, etc., etc., etc. It's all pointless. Let's be honest. It's all pointless. That the second that you put any thought into this movie whatsoever, it completely falls apart. Now, I saw it with a group. It was universally hated with one exception. One exception. The individual is basically a contrarian, so they may have been saying that they liked it for no other reason than just because they are contrarian. However, you know, they said that, and I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And then as a sort of, you know, attack, they said, well, you know, Dante, not every movie has to make sense. And I thought on this, and my reply was, you're right, but the really good ones always do. Even if it is making sense in the confines of their own narrative and their own canon, okay? And that's really the big picture problem, not just with Truth or Dare, but to be honest, with the majority of the Blumhouse productions that are in existence, and with this new slate of horror movies that are being put out there, you know, ostensibly, first of all, as horror, which is a joke, and then second of all, as passable. I'm not even saying like scary or anything, but just as sort of like movies. Like honestly, I can't imagine someone getting this script, be it a money man, a producer, an actress, and reading it and saying, yeah, you know, this looks good. Yeah. Like, how can you not just shred this apart? And yet, that's what's happening. That is what's happening. And the end result comes to my next point. And it was a further discussion that I had. And that was that, okay, so these movies aren't being made for you, Dante. They're not. You're a horror fan. You've seen it all. You appreciate greatness. These movies aren't for you. These movies are for 12, 13, 14-year-old kids today getting into horror. This is their first steps into the genre, you know, and so it's pointless for you to make any commentary on it. Okay, fair enough, but of course not fair enough. Because I look back at the different sort of decades, say, you know, if you were someone who grew up in, say, the 70s, and you're looking at some of the seminal works in that time period, the Black Christmases, you know, the Jawses, you know, even, you know, the Halloweens, that sort of thing. Don't get me started on the 80s. Obviously, it's just take your pick, you know. We hit the 90s and we begin to see a little bit of a reduction in quality. The 2000s, further reduction. 2010s, forget about it, you know. And so the point is that it isn't that it's a generational difference. It's not just an old codger type thing. It's at a discernible decrease in the quality of the movies. Because a lot of people say, oh, look, it's not fair. You had movies in the 70s and the 80s, and it was the pinnacle because everything was then done. Everything was done. So it has to go downhill after that. And of course, it's not true, as we've seen by standout pictures that have occurred as recently as a month ago with The Terrifier, or last year with The Void, or a year and a half ago or so with The Witch, or 6 months ago with Gerald's Game. They're out there. That is not a valid reason. It is not a decline just because there was a heyday a long time ago. No, it is a concerted effort on the part of studios to dumb down and sanitize their product in an effort to make it what they think is available to everyone. Okay? And maybe they're true. The numbers certainly suggest they are. When the former title holder, Happy Death Day, makes $100 million, you have to shoot yourself in the head. I can't even imagine what this movie is going to make. The problem therein lies that you're not doing these young people any favors. Because it's been said by many, many others. Cronenberg is a great example. Early John Carpenter. What horror as a genre is best at is challenging people on a multitude of levels. It can be as simple as challenging the concept of your mortality, to conquering fears, to the ability to accept something so foreign and strange to your world experience, and how do you react to it. It has the power to do all those things, and those things are important. That is how we grow. That is how we become more well-rounded people. That is how we get a greater appreciation of living, of the world that we live in. And creating a sanitized, safe, non-offensive product denies those 12, 13, 14-year-olds that much needed and much required experience. So I know it's on my soapbox. I know it doesn't have anything to do with likes and dislikes for this movie, but honestly, I think it would have been more boring for me to stand up here and just rip this movie to shreds on just how terrible it is, because I've done that in a number of videos already. This is by far the worst of the lot. I could just spend hours and hours as I did, but at the end of the day, you just kind of go, you're really flogging a dead horse here, Dante. There's no point into it, so we'll try something else. And really hope that some of these indie productions that are out there, or some of these Netflix movies, are getting into the eyes of the young teens now, so that they can be challenged, they can have their world expanded, and they become more interesting people. Because this dreck that is being put out there, this truth or dare, it is, without question, offensive to anybody that enjoys good cinema and good horror movies and horror movies that challenge you. Alright, it's Pinhead time, and I don't think it's any surprise that I'm going to give this one 0 pinheads. If I could give negative pinheads, I certainly would. What I will bestow upon this is the title, if you didn't catch it earlier, of the single worst horror movie to be released in movie theaters ever, bar none. Completely, not even just dethroning the former champion, but embarrassing it. This is an unmitigated disaster. So again, 0 pinheads. This movie is such a disappointment, I'm not even going to make truth or dare puns. I'm really not. There's no point. So, what do you guys think? I mean, obviously, you know, if anybody by chance liked this movie, God, please explain it to me, you know, in the comment section below. If you hated it, vent, please, you know, feel free. If you have maybe some commentary on my little rant and soapbox there, hey, I'd love to hear that too. So, let's get those comment sections rocking.